family members who were brutally murdered on the 5th of January. The service is currently ongoing at Wangonyo Primary School in the Karura area, that's Kiambaa sub-county in the county of Kiambu. The deceased will later be laid to rest in the same locality, with police still detaining Lawrence Warunge and his girlfriend Susan Modhoni at the Gigiri police station as investigations continue. We are to listen in. Currently speaking is the Senator of Kiambu County, that's Bwana Wamatangi. However, they are speaking in Kikuyu, therefore we shall not take it live, but we shall give you an update on the same. Seth Olale is on location and will be giving us an update of the same as we go on, and it indeed is a sad story and a sad situation there. Now let's cross over to our neighbors, and that's the country of Uganda, and it is countdown to the deadline within the Uganda Electoral Commission, within which the Uganda Electoral Commission should have announced the winner of Thursday's hotly contested presidential poll, with preliminary numbers placing incumbent President Yoweri Museveni in the lead. The latest results from the commission show that Museveni is at the lead with 58.8% against Bobi Wine's 34%. According to the commission, the results have thus far been collected from 51% of the valid votes cast in the January 14th poll. And before we get the story from Anita Nkonge, let's take a look at the latest numbers from the status that was released by the Electoral Commission. The Electoral Commission of Uganda, which these are the latest numbers. As you can see there, we have Museveni is leading with a significant margin that is at 5.56 million votes, 58.89%, followed by Robert Chagulanyi, who is at 34%, having garnered so far 3.263% of the votes. Then we have Patrick Muriat, who is having 310,753 votes. That's 3.29%. Then the rest, who are all under 1% so far: Mugisha Muntu, Norbert Mao, Henry Tumukunde, Joseph Kabuleta, and Nancy Kalembe. The only lady is the one who's at the very bottom of the rankings so far. And these are the provisional results, which have put President Museveni at the top at 5.56 million votes so far. And so we could see he's almost over, actually more than 2 million votes ahead of Robert Chagulanyi or Bobi Wine. Some bitter drink for Bobi there. But we shall be getting more updates from our colleagues in Uganda, as well as this update by Anita Nkonge.
It has been an upset for bigwigs in the Ugandan election, with the vice president and at least 8 other cabinet ministers having lost their parliamentary seats in the poll, whose outcome is still being tallied. Friday evening, Sir Robert Chagulanyi, popularly known as Bobi Wine, tweeted, despite the state-sanctioned internet blackout, that his house was under siege by the Ugandan military. The Ugandan military, however, had their own explanation.
We shall continue to give security to all the candidates who are not yet presidents, and we shall continue to give security to all Ugandans.
Bobi Wine, who currently has 34% of the electoral votes, had expressed his cynicism when it comes to the aggregation and tallying of the votes.
General Museveni, aided by Mr. Byabakama, the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, other state institutions, and shamelessly, some media houses are trying yet again to usurp the will of the people of Uganda. But Mr. Museveni is deliberately trying to paint a picture that he is in the lead. What a joke.
We say the burden is upon him who asserts the existence of certain facts. So it is the onus is upon candidate Kyagulanyi to show or to prove in what context and how the results are rigged.
The commission went on further to say that the lack of internet connection was not disrupting the transmission of results.
We are not using his local internet transmit our results. We are using our own system.
Friday also saw a dramatic scene in Busia after Ugandan Defence Force soldier was arrested after being caught allegedly destroying declaration of results forms. But despite the drama, some went home celebrating on Friday after some candidates won their electoral seats.
My opponent, who came second, this is Kamba, did not have any message for the people. His role was to dance for the people. My people don't want a dancer. My people want a spokesperson who can speak for them. My people want a performer who can work for them.
The internet continues to stay down as the end of the election nears. The final tallied votes are expected by the end of Saturday. Anita Nkonge, NTV.
And the interesting thing here so far is that the Vice President of Uganda, as well as at least 8 cabinet ministers, have already lost their seats in the parliamentary elections, because in their system, it's like what we had in Kenya back in the day, where you should first be voted in as an MP, then there's some similarities, then you can be part of the cabinet. And so far, that's at least 9 of the cabinet members in Yoweri Kaguta Museveni's cabinet who have lost their parliamentary seats. Now let's come back home, and the journey to securing a substantive successor for retired Chief Justice David Maraga kicks off on Monday. The Judicial Service Commission says the process shall commence by the publication of the notice declaring a vacancy in the office of the Chief Justice on Monday, the 18th of January 2021. It goes on to say that after the publication of the notice, the search for a candidate and the recruitment process and its attendant timelines will be governed and conducted in accordance with all the relevant provisions of the Constitution and the law. The government has warned head teachers against hiking school fees, and the warning comes as various government officials continue to visit different regions in the country to assess the situation in schools. In Laikipia, the nomadic communities have come up with a team to ensure all school-going children report back to school. Judith Cherono has more details on the state of education in the country.
Addressing the media today at Embu County Primary School, Professor George Magoha has asked the school heads to resist the urge to increase school fees. The CS said that such acts will worsen the plight of parents who are already grappling with the negative effects of COVID-19 pandemic.
There are also a small number of teachers who are sending children away from school that they should not send away from school. Can we ensure that they really make sure that the person they are sending away from school can afford to pay school fees?
Magoha also said contractors who supplied desks to schools should be paid as soon as possible, adding that there are additional funds set aside to ensure that children from slums and arid areas get food while at school. Elsewhere in Laikipia County, a team has been formed to ensure that all children from nomadic communities are attending school. The team is working closely with other leaders, chiefs and administrators to make sure that pupils and students from Laikipia, Baringo and Samburu report back to school. In Eldoret, Education PS Dr. Belio Kipsang has warned men who impregnate underage girls that if they are found guilty, they will be dealt with in accordance with child protection laws. The PS was speaking in Eldoret during an official tour of Moi Girls High School.
They have not attained the age of consent. We shall go for them. For sure, we shall not just leave them to go scot-free, and they have messed up our girls.
Meanwhile, in Mombasa County, many schools are still struggling with social distance as a measure to curb the spread of COVID-19. Agriculture Principal Secretary Professor Hamadi Boga stated that despite the challenge, Mombasa County has recorded 96% school attendance. He was speaking during an inspection tour of schools at the county. Judith Cherono, NTV.
And staying with matters of education, many schools in the county of Kilifi are still grappling with how to achieve social distancing as the county records 84% enrollment in public schools. At Mtomodoni Primary School, pupils are learning under a tree, while sitting on logs and stones. It can clearly be seen that the pupils are straining to write on their laps, whilst others are improvising writing surfaces on top of their school bags. This was established during a school assessment tour by the PS in the Department for Regional Development, Dr. Margaret Mwakima, to find out how the COVID-19 compliance in schools and also the enrollment during the pandemic is ongoing. And as we just close the education conversation, last night we had a story about the Mandera Governor Ali Roberts saying that back to school has been hampered in the county of Mandera because of Al-Shabaab as well. He says Al-Shabaab have taken over about 50% of the roads in Mandera, and he accused the national government, in terms of the national government administration officers, of not doing their part as they should. And this morning, the Northeastern Regional Commissioner Nicodemus Musyoki Ndalana has responded, and he's basically just said the governor should not have addressed such an issue in public, and saying that they should work together. And he says that, you know, he is pretty much calling out the governor, faulting him for bringing such a sensitive issue in the public, yet he does not feel that it is the truth. We shall be giving you that story in details in our subsequent bulletins at 7 and 9 p.m. Let's move to some business, and restaurants and bars now have an opportunity to tap into the 330 million shillings fund aimed at supporting the revival of businesses following the impact occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. The fund, facilitated by the Kenya Breweries Limited, targets supporting at least 11,000 businesses by February 12, 2021. The fund is part of Diageo's 11 billion shillings global fund to support restaurants and pubs to bounce back from closure brought about by lockdown measures taken to curb the spread of the disease. Under the program, restaurants and bars will be supported in obtaining hygiene equipment as well as train their staff on safety measures that need to be taken to protect themselves and their customers. Likoni Member of Parliament Mishi Mboko has pointed an accusatory finger at a section of police whom she says are colluding with youth engaging in substance abuse in Likoni in the county of Mombasa. Cases of drug abuse are reported to be on the rise in Likoni, with high number of youth reported to be resorting to criminal activities to meet their desire for substance abuse. Speaking in Likoni during the conclusion of a 3-day community policing security training, Mishi Mboko urged police to go hard on drug dealers. She has also appealed to the government to intervene and arrest drug barons, urging parents to monitor their children closely.
Na mtanisikia mimi nitalia na nitataja majina ya maofisa wale wanachukua pesa, that means nitataja mtu kwa jina. You talk all whatever you're going to say, but we need to do something about drugs. Mimi nasikia uchungu. My community, the bigger community, watoto wadogo wanaangamia kwa nini? Kila mzazi hapa yuko affected, directly or indirectly. Nani yuko affected na unga hapa? Kama si wake, ni wakatake.
Now, residents of Omosasa village in Bomachoge, Borabu, in the county of Kisii, are in shock and horror after a pastor killed his wife and took the body to the morgue himself. Police have since picked the 40-year-old pastor, Joel Mogaka, for further interrogation, with the body of his deceased wife, Irene Nyakwara, awaiting an autopsy at Christ Marian Mission Mortuary in the county of Kisii. Nuru Abdulaziz with the details.
Residents of Omosasa in Bomachoge, Borabu, Kisii County entered this compound in small numbers to confirm if what they heard was the reality. The owner of this homestead, who is known to many as a pastor, is said to have killed his wife.
Tumeona huko kwa store kuna damu imemwagwa pale. Maana nilisikia kwamba alimdunga visu na kumuua, alafu akamchukua moja mwenyewe. Sijui alikuwa na confidence gani, baadaye akarudi akajichukua kwa police station.
The residents say the couple lived a very private life.
Wanapigana, mvua ilikuwa inanyesha, hatukusikia sauti. Hatujui ni nini mbaya yeye na bwana yake. Sasa huyu mama ameacha watoto wawili wadogo.
And on the material night, the suspect had picked a quarrel with his wife over what he deemed to be amorous texts in her phone, leading to a fight before the pastor took a knife and slit the throat of his wife.
Huyu jamaa ambaye amewa bibi yake hapa namjua anaitwa kama pastor, lakini wakati tumejaribu kumchunguza vizuri tumepata ya kwamba alikuwa mchungaji, lakini mambo yake hayakuwa sawa, kwa hivyo aliweza kutolewa katika uchungaji.
The deceased was a teacher at Bombamba Secondary in Mogonga Township. Kisii County Police Commander Jebel Munene said on phone that investigations into the matter had begun. Nuru Abdulaziz, NTV.
We'll take a short break now on NTV at 1. We shall be... before we take a break, I beg your pardon, I am advised that we should first of all address matters with pastoralists, and pastoralist communities in the semi-arid parts of Isiolo South are being urged to embrace crop farming through initiatives by the government and other development partners. With most pastoralists having little understanding of crop husbandry and resisting the change to move on to farming, the government has been trying to avail water for irrigation and give farmers seeds as well as other incentives that are attractive to the locals. In a recent visit during the launch of water feeder canals in Rapsu area in Kinawad in Garbatula sub-county of Isiolo. The Chief Administrative Secretary in the Ministry of Devolution and Planning, Abdul Bahari, called on residents to be flexible and try crop husbandry and mixed farming in the areas and hailed the area's huge potential for agriculture.
Pia serikali ya Kenya na National Drought Management Authority tuliweza katika mwaka wa 2020-21 tuliweza pia kupata fedha ya kuweza kutengeneza pia another 1.2 kilometer feeder canal.
Ile kitu ningependa kuhimiza watu wetu ni ya kwamba tuweze kuwa na attitude ya kujisaidia.
Nyanya sofa hapa ni kama heka 10 na kuna kitunguu heka 10, hiyo ni 20. Kuna mahindi around 80 acres na kuna marawe around 40 acres.
At that point, we take a short break on NTV at 1. They say in Swahili, wacha tupunge hewa na tunywe maji. Sijui kama nitapata maji, but I hope so. We'll be seeing you after this with more news.
I wish I could have soft and glowing skin.
New Geisha Black Soap with activated charcoal to give you soft and glowing skin. New Geisha Black Soap and New Geisha Moringa.
Niko sawa. Hivi nimetoka clinic na baba Brenda.
Mume wako anakubali mwende hospitali pamoja? Wangu hata nimlipe, hauwezi kubali.
Ilibidi twende na yeye, nipimwe. Yeye hapimwe. Kama kuna HIV, nipewe dawa ndio mtoto asipate HIV.
Wanaume wenzangu, kuandamana na mama akienda clinic na pia kujua hali yako ya HIV ni muhimu. Inaonyesha unamjali na pia unajali mtoto wako mtarajiwa. Je, unajijua?
Unapoendelea kujikinga kutokana na HIV, tafadhali zingatia taratibu zote za serikali za kujikinga na virusi vya corona.
HIV, afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Breaking news from Molfix. Let's see what they're developing right now.
Pants is just for me. It really feels very comfy.
Molfix pants with anatomic fit technology. New Molfix pants, an invention from babies for babies.
You should also try Molfix.
New year comes with new year deals. Renew your corporate subscription and get a bonus. Subscribe to Nation e-paper for 3 months and get 1 week absolutely free. 6 months and get 2 weeks absolutely free. 1 year and get 3 weeks absolutely free. To sign up, visit epaper.nationmedia.com or email subscription@ke.nationmedia.com. Offer valid till 28th February 2021.
Welcome back to NTV at 1. Let's do some sports now, and it's the final round of the 2021 Safari Tour's 6th leg at the Par 71 Great Rift Valley Golf Resort. Now, leaders Justus Madoya had an inconsistent penultimate day, making 5 single bogeys and 1 double bogey, which translated into a 4 over par 75 and a 3 rounds total of 1 over par 214. Bagalana finished the second last day in second, with Muthaiga's Greg Snow in third.
I'm in top 5, so there's no way I'm going to miss playing in the Kenya Open. All I need to do is to make sure that I just have to work hard, and you work hard until the end, because this is the time that we need to practice.
But in terms of that, it's heading in the right direction. Obviously, I haven't played competitive golf since Uganda, but other than that, working on it and getting ready for the Open.
Now, quite an action-packed day in the English Premier League, and Leicester hope to climb to third, at least tentatively, when they host 7th place Southampton in the late kickoff. Just before that, in form, Fulham host Chelsea at Craven Cottage, with the West London club fancying themselves against Frank Lampard's side following their impressive 1-1 draw with Tottenham Hotspur. In other games, Leeds United takes on Brighton, West Ham host Burnley, and Wolves play West Brom in the early kickoff. Lazio was simply in imperious form as they cruised to a 3-0 victory over city rivals Roma, equaling their best ever derby victory in the Serie A. Last season's top scorer, Ciro Immobile, opened the scoring in the 14th minute for his 12th goal of the season. Luis Alberto, in the 23rd and 67th minutes, scored the other two, both with precise strikes. The win moved Lazio up to 7th place on 31 points, just 2 behind champions Juventus in 4th. Roma stay 3rd with 34 points, but are 6 points off leaders AC Milan, having also played a game more.
Lanzari. Akpro involved straight away. Luis Alberto, it opens up in front of him! And Lazio with a glory night!
I guess it's safe to say that's a serious advancement for them. Now let's move away from sports and come back to the country, where in Kiambaa we have the heartbreaking story of the family of 4 as alongside the worker who were killed by their own kin, and the 4 family members are being laid to rest today. The service is ongoing in Kiambaa, as you could see there, and this is at Wangonyo Primary School, which is in Karura in Kiambaa sub-county in the county of Kiambu. And the deceased are going to be laid to rest in the same locality, and police are still detaining Lawrence Warunge and his girlfriend Susan Modhoni at the Gigiri police stations as the investigations begin. We can see there the pictures of the various family members who are being laid to rest, and I'll just read through their names. We have the mother is Anne. We have the mother, who is Anne Wanjiko Njoroge. She was born in 1965. The man of the house is Nicholas Njoroge Warunge, who was born in 1966. Then we have their son, Christian Njenga Njoroge, who was born 2007, and their cousin, Maxwell Njenga Wanjohe, who was born in 2005, and they were all murdered brutally on the 5th of January 2021 by their own kin, by Lawrence, who is the son of Nicholas and Anne Njoroge, and brother to Christian Njenga, and they've got 2 sisters with them, 2 sisters who were, in this case, fortunate to have gone to school, so they did not have the same fate befall them. So it's a really sad story, and the family it is a situation where you find Lawrence is not going to be present for the send-off of his parents, his brother and cousin, because of the circumstances under which this is all happening. So this is a very sad situation. Kiambaa, in the county of Kiambu, we've got the DCI saying that they have already unraveled the whole situation. They're looking to press charges. The young man had actually gone and hidden some of the evidence, some of the tools that were used in the heinous crime in Mai Mahiu, that's in the county of Nakuru, as well as some cell phones which he burnt, and he led the detectives there when the investigations were still fresh. And so now he's in custody alongside his girlfriend, who was actually the one who had rented the house in Mai Mahiu, because the residents there say they did not know the boy, the gentleman, that's Lawrence. They only knew, let me say the man, Lawrence, they only knew of the girl, his girlfriend. And so some heartbreaking news. You could see some of the family members there. You can imagine the anguish that is going through the minds and the hearts of especially the 2 young girls who have been bereaved of their parents and their brother at the hands of their other brother, at least as far as the information from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations is concerned. There in the alongside those who are mourning, we could see some of them who are dressed, some of the ladies and gents who are dressed in attire that is seen by on Medics, and this is because Madam Anne Wanjiku was a nurse in the county of Kiambu, and so those are her colleagues who also had a small service of sorts a few days ago, just to celebrate her and to acknowledge the value that she had, and just saying that it's important for them to stand with their family even in this time, as they still also come to terms with the reality that is this. Let's listen in and see whether there's something that we could pick from there in the ongoing service.
I shall say it, and the rest shall say it after me, so that everyone can hear what we are saying. When I say I, put your name and wait for me to say it and then say it after me. So I, Betty Duku Kasioka, solemnly pledge, nurses solemnly pledge, myself before God and in the presence of this assembly, to pass my life in purity, and to practice my profession, faithfully. I will abstain from whatever is deleterious and mischievous, and will not take or knowingly administer any harmful drug. I will do all in my power to maintain and elevate the standard of my profession, nursing, and I will hold in confidence.
And those, I believe, are the colleagues of the late Anne Wanjiku Njoroge, who is to be laid to rest today alongside her husband, their son, and their nephew. And the worker who was also killed on the same day by the same person, as is believed by the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, was laid to rest a few days ago, and we did cover that story. Seth Olale is in Kiambaa, and will bring to us the details of this emotional send-off that has thrown the country into a sense of shock and surprise and concern in regards to the happenings there. That's it for Interview One, but as we close, we'd just like to take you back to Uganda just in regards to the update of the numbers. And we could see that Yoweri Museveni is still leading. This is the update that was given by the Electoral Commission of Uganda at 12, that's at noon. That is when they had their latest update. And Museveni is at 5,562,141 votes. That is 58.89% of the vote. Then we had Robert Chagulanyi, or Bobby Wine, who was at 3,263,309, I beg your pardon. That's 34.55% of the vote. Then we have Patrick, I beg your pardon, Amuriat, 310,000 votes, 310,753 votes. That's 3.29%. And we have the others, that's Mugisha Muntu at 62,000, Norbert Mao 51,000 or 51.7 thousand, Henry Tumukunde at 47,397, Joseph Kabuleta and Nancy Kalembe follow at 42,000 and 32,000 respectively. And all the bottom five, as at noon, as at the results the commission had released at noon, were below 1% of the vote, while Yoweri Museveni was at 58.89%, and just some quick math of 5562141, what Museveni has against what Chagulanyi had, that's 3263,309. It means that Museveni is 2.3 million votes ahead of Chagulanyi. 2.3 million votes ahead of Chagulanyi, and so that is the latest. That is the latest set of results from the Uganda's Electoral Commission, which had its latest briefing at noon, and at 4 p.m. They're expected to constitutionally release the final results. So we are only a few hours shy. It's around 1:30 now. So in about 2.5 hours or so, we should be having the final results and bring this to a close. We'll be monitoring through our colleagues in NTV Uganda as well as other agencies to just see what exactly the situation is like, because Bobi Wine or Robert Chagulanyi, who is currently number 2 in the provisional results, had already raised alarm about rigging on the part of Yoweri Museveni. And we also had other presidential aspirants who were candidates, I beg your pardon, who also claimed that the vote was rigged, especially in the wake of the shutdown of internet. It's been days when since Uganda had its internet switched off. It's a state-sanctioned blackout of internet and social media at large. And so this is a point of concern as well. The European Union, however, says it is very impressed with how the elections have gone. That's what the European Union has said. Another important thing to note is that the Vice President of Uganda, alongside at least 8 other ministers, cabinet ministers that is, have been kicked out in regards to their parliamentary seats. They have lost the election in their parliamentary seats. So that is a significant advancement, and it's quite telling, with questions arising over how it is that Museveni is leading so strongly, but his men, his vice president, his cabinet ministers are not doing as well. So we'll be giving you updates as we go along the day, as we look to seeing what will be happening at 4 p.m, especially when we expect to have the latest update and some declarations, as well as just the reactions on the same. Thank you for joining us on NTV at 1. My name is Dan Mwangi, and we shall be having updates, like I said, on our screens as we go along with the afternoon, as we also wait to see whether we'll take the live feed of the press conference by the Electoral Commission of Uganda later in the day. Thank you for joining us. Have yourself a great afternoon.